All right, and we are live. We are live, Archie.
Here we are live.
Okay, it looks like we're live here for another episode, guys, of the MMAFightPass.com Hammer Fist podcast. This is me, Tom Owens, and we got Archie Tovar, the producer, here up here in the corner. Thank you, guys. We're sorry we're a little bit late today. This is only our fifth or our sixth virtual podcast. I think it's number 6. So since we've been in this coronavirus quarantine, guys, we want to keep the podcast going. We don't want to stop and be still. We want to keep it going and keep entertaining you guys. So our producer Archie Tovar, he figured out a way for us to keep going with this virtual podcast, and it's still new to us, but we're starting to learn it and we're getting it down, and we keep bringing on. I'm real happy today. We keep getting better and better guests. So thank you, Archie, for keeping it going. And guys, I want to thank my 2 guests and introduce the guest today. On my lower left corner, he'll raise his hand. We got Mauricio Tinguinha. Moriano, is that your last name, brother?
No, my Tinguinha is a nickname. My last name is Mariano. Yeah,
Mariano.
Yes.
And Tinguinha was born and raised in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, guys, in a small town called Barra da Tijuca. And right around the corner from the world famous Gracie Barra Academy. And our second guest here, many of you guys know already, and a lot of you guys watching, this is your sensei, your head instructor at Halo Jiu-Jitsu in Fresno, and we have Angel Lopez. How you doing, bro?
Everybody, hello, man. I miss everybody, first of all, and good to see all 3 of you today.
Likewise.
Life is good.
Archie, how are you doing today, brother?
Hey, doing good, Tom. Just here getting ready to take those duties of producing and making sure we're all just communicating and talking about the good old times and the future, the past, the present, and how we all got here in our journey, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, guys. So as many of you guys know, this show is we're still new with it and everything, but the whole idea of this show, guys, was with me and Archie and Chris Ronquillo and a few other good friends. Is many of us started jiu-jitsu a long time ago in the Central Valley when there was no black belts and there was hardly any schools. Like the highest level of jiu-jitsu was you would be lucky to find like a blue or a purple belt. And it was at that time that like myself and Luis Speedy Gonzalez and Tom Knox and Mark Dela Cruz, a few other blue belts, we started to travel around to meet different instructors and to learn jiu-jitsu from black belts. The whole goal was to try to train with a black belt. And a big part of this story for me, I couldn't get him on the show today, but we will in the future. He's a lot of your guys' student and sensei is Luis Speedy Gonzalez, who has his school in Tulare, California. And I met Luis back in the early days when I was trained at Pacific Martial Arts and a school here in town called Jabushi Martial Arts that was ran by Mike Sir. You might remember him, Tinguinha. And that's where I met Luis. And me and Luis, somehow we matched up really well, and we rolled a lot together. And it was back at a time when I was training to compete, and Luis was really into competition. And I became friends with Luis, and I just started traveling around with Luis. And it was weird how it happened because, as many of you guys know, Luis, he's a correction officer at a prison here, and he's one of the hardest workers that I ever met. And Luis Gonzalez, just give me a minute to talk about him real quick. He plays a very important part of the jiu-jitsu here in the Central Valley, especially all of you guys that are affiliated with Tinguinha. And Luis would work all night at the correction, and he made a deal with me that if I would drive his truck so he could sleep, and I could go with him to train at the Half Gracie Academy. And then later on, it would go to Crosley Gracie, and then later he met Tinguinha along the line. So the deal was I would drive Luis. He would just get out of work from working all night, and he would sleep on the way. And this guy we would get to these dojos, and Luis would just be 100%, 110% in, and super, super dedicated, and just trained super, super hard. And it was, if I had never met Luis, I probably would have never met Tinguinha and Half Gracie and a lot of these other guys that I was lucky to meet. So Luis, if you're watching, and I know you'll probably watch it later on, I just want to thank you. And a lot of your students probably don't know how all this came together. So with this show, Tinguinha, and Angel too, because you play a big part. just want to kind of let the students know and people that might watch later on how this all came to be, because now Tinguinha, you have a huge part. Your jiu-jitsu, you have what, 3 or 4 affiliates here?
3, yeah.
3
No,
affiliates.
4. Yeah. Josh, Luis, Angel, right? Yeah, 3.
3 affiliates here, yeah. So played a huge part, man. And I want to thank you too for, letting us get to know you and you helping us out and making it grow. And Angel,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
go ahead, brother.
Yeah,
All right, man. I just want to say that I'm very thankful. Like I've said this plenty of times before, when I first met Speedy and them, when they came into my gym, that's a moment that I'll never forget, because they changed my life forever. When Professor Speedy opened up a jiu-jitsu program at our MMA gym, which was Fresno Kickboxing Academy at the time in 2008. I started doing jiu-jitsu. I was injured at the time. I couldn't train. I had to get shoulder surgery to correct my torn rotator cuff. So I specifically got the surgery so I could start competing and training again. So I wasn't able to start training legitly until 2009. And that's when Professor Ray Alvarado, which is a Tinguinha black belt as well, he was also an instructor there with Speedy. So, they would train us and train the whole class. And I started doing jiu-jitsu. And I remember Professor Ray Alvarado showed me one choke and I was hooked. I was like, wow, dude, like, you can really choke somebody that easy. And coming from a wrestling background, I just instantly fell in love with jiu-jitsu, started doing it. And at the time I was, getting ready to fight. It was doing Muay Thai boxing, coming from a wrestling background, only fought an amateur show once, 1-0 in the cage in an amateur show, had a good time. But jiu-jitsu I kept going to tournaments. And I remember when I went to my first tournament and got armbarred twice by the same guy, I'm like, wow, this stuff really works. And the jiu-jitsu really humbled me, and it made me wake up, and I realized that this is what I want to do, because it's very difficult and I want to get good at it. So it's just been a blessing to be able to do jiu-jitsu. And Speedy and Professor Ray Alvarado, they introduced me to Mauricio, and that was my blessing right there, and got me affiliated with him. So, I just honor all my professors. I honor those two, Ray and Speedy, and I'm just so lucky to be a Tinguinha black belt. And that was one of my dreams come true. It was a dream come true to me. And, now I'm a Tinguinha black belt, and I'm not done yet. I love being a professor. I love coaching my students. And I just want to give a shout out to all my students that paid your dues last month. Thank you. I am beyond, thankful for you guys. That's our facility. And I'm humbled 150 ways. So that's our camp, and I can't wait to see you guys all. And life is good.
Yeah. So can I say something about Luis? We talk about, my mind went way back to the past, right?
Yeah.
So I have the chance to see the beginning in your guys' area, right? And Luis is a big part. Like I said, Luis is a big part of that. I met Luis when he was a blue belt. He was training half, but he was training Batata, right? Batata, I believe in Mountain View, that's the place he was training. Yeah, right. And I think he hurt his knee. He has a surgery, something. Some transition. Batata was moving for another half school. So Batata sent Luis to my school, like, hey, go train to me, check it out. So he came with Ray. The first time I met Luis and Ray. It was funny, because we have Ray, a big guy, Luis, a small guy, a combination of those two. It was funny, right? They came in, hey, I know Batata, so I start talking to Luis. Luis was very quiet. I play with him like, man, Luis, remember when the first time we met you? I'm always asking me, it wasn't like this, but he was close to that. I was talking to, hey, how you guys doing stuff? So Luis was talking to Ray, and Ray was talking to me. Luis is saying this. He was very shy, right? So he trained, the first time he trained, it got my attention. He never get tired, right? He keep going. So then he told me, why you leave? He told me the name of the city. I didn't know, right? I was living here for 3 years. And when I find out how far it was, I was like, and he said, I want to start coming to train because Batata staying here. I was like, all right, yeah, come to train today. Just come a week to see how you like it. But in my mind, he's going to come 1 week and gone because it's too far. So he did that for blue belt all the way to black belt. He came 2 times a week. And every time somebody coming to him, so like I said, he worked at night, Ray was driving, somebody was driving, and he trains, right? Sometimes he stayed in pool, sleep. So that little guy, man, he was amazing, right? Like he's very to talk to Luis, right? He's a nice guy, everybody likes him. But what caught my attention was his drive, right? Like to become a, he said, I want to do tournaments, I want to train, I want to black belt, right? And at some point I was expecting, like, man, I'm not gonna make that drive. And he never keep coming. I'm start taking tournaments, he start fighting his division in open division. When he was a blue belt, he came into Brazil and he stayed at my mother's house. So he was to the World Championship that was in Brazil, right? His division, super feather in Brazil as a blue belt. It's a deep a division. There are a lot of small guys there. I remember that one of my friends spoke to Brazil. Like, man, who's this little guy here? I said, what do you mean? Man, he's training in school and he's killing people. And he went to the tournament. He got 3rd place in the World Championship.
3rd place. I was with him.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you know. So he got that. At that time, it was not that many people from outside, and blue belt was a deep, right? So it was like, and he lost that the fight was more than an experience. It wasn't because people were better than him, right? So Luis was amazing, right? And then he did a transition for the MMA. He did a good job too. So he started teaching, Then we all know, like, from Luis, he started teaching, That's how I met Angel. That's Mike Sir, right? Like the whole thing started happening just because Luis, the driving. I believe a lot of people see he's doing well and start believing, man. This guy, like, we can train, we can do tournaments. So he's the one who opened the door for everybody there to, train jiu-jitsu, believe in it.
Yeah. I'll tell a little story. Back then, in the gym that we were at, Djibouti, what everybody was saying at the time is we all wanted to compete in the World Championships, but the World Championships at that time, you had to go to Brazil. We talk about this a lot. And it was a complete different thing. There was very few Americans that were going over there. And all I kept hearing from everybody in the gym, like Mike Sir and them, like, hey, if you go and meet this guy Tinguinha and you get to know him, that you can go and stay at his mom's house in Brazil, and then you can compete in the World Championships. So I'm like, all right, I'm in, because that's what I wanted to do. And so I started traveling with Luis down to Tinguinha, and I met him. And sure enough, me and Luis, we planned out this trip to go to Brazil. And my plan was to stay there for a month, and Luis was going to stay for 2 weeks. But we would get there 2 weeks before the World Championships, and we would train at the Gracie Barra Academy, the world famous, legendary Gracie Barra Academy, for 2 weeks before the Worlds. And Tinguinha let us stay at his mom's house, and she took care of us, and we stayed there. And man, for me as a young man, like, I was real immature at the time, and I loved jiu-jitsu and I wanted to compete, but like I also had like partying and stuff on my mind. I was young and stupid at the time, and but I wanted to do the Worlds. And Tinguinha, he let us go over there, and we went. And man, guys, it was an experience of a lifetime. If you're a young guy doing jiu-jitsu, it was literally every morning I would get up and walk right around the block to the Gracie Barra Academy. It was just like 1 block away, right, Tinguinha?
Two blocks away. And that time you were there, majority of those black belts, that I don't know, were still living in Brazil, still there, right? So that was a very special moment when you went there, right?
It was, at that time, one of the best guys in the world. He's still relevant. He was a heavyweight, and he was like a 4-time world champion. His name was Pere Pano. Pere Pano.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know who he is, look him up on YouTube. This man was amazing. And so I had Pere
Pano won the World Championship. I mean, he won many times, but the open division, I 2 times, right? One time he beat Roger, the other time I can't remember. So just few guys can do that, right?
Hey, and that was an amazing time. And so when me and Luis went over there, like Luis, there was another guy. There was 3 guys that we were looking forward to training with, and they were there literally every single day. One was Roberto Gordo. He's famous for the half guard. Okay, awesome guy right there, man. And then Feitosa was there every day. Marcelo Feitosa.
Márcio.
And
Márcio.
Matsu.
okay,
Márcio.
Matsu.
Yeah.
Oh man, super nice guy. Hey, and on top of that, Carlos Gracie Jr. was there. And these guys were teaching classes every day. You would go in there, and they were very friendly to us. And when I would go in there, I was really nervous and scared for like the first week. Like, I mean, I was probably one of the only white guys over there at the time. There was a couple, but I was like, man, how are these guys going to react when I come in here to train and to roll? And as soon as I told them that I was a student of Tinguinha, man, dude, they were just all welcomed us right in. They were like, most of the guys would be like, oh man, Tinguinha, that's my brother, Tinguinha. Wow. They really looked up to you back then. It was a big thing that you made it over here to the United States. How old were you, bro, when you came over here?
I think it was 25.
And me and you were born the same year, so I must have been 20. Yeah. You were born in 1975?
75, yeah, 75.
February 75, bro. Me too.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Hey, man, guys. But that trip to Brazil, I was with Luis, and we were training twice a day. There was an early morning class. If you got up early, you could go to this class at like 6 a.m. And if you went to that class, it was nothing but killers. It was like the black belts that were getting ready to. When I say killers, I just mean really good, professional experts. Super nice. They wouldn't try to hurt you. And I got a chance to roll with like Feitosa a few times. And the biggest thing I probably learned about jiu-jitsu over there, and I try to teach to my students today, is those guys, when I would roll with them, it didn't feel like they were using any struggle or power or muscle. It just felt to me like it was like rolling with a ball of water. Like they would just flow. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah,
and I had never really felt that too much.
Yeah, the school, of course, every school is a little bit different style, but our style over there was technical, like people playing on the ball on top. It's technical, right? Like very technical, right? Flow, a lot of flow, going hard, but with technique, right? So that was kind of like our deal over there, right? That's one thing when I moved to here, I have a hard time to adjust to that because of course, white belts are going to use power, but people were more physical, right? Power. And that was kind of always bothering me. I want to see more technique. So I kind of have Angel know this. I have once a week at my school, I have we call it Hell Week. It's not a Hell Week, but it's a training. We're doing 1 hour training without stop. So we're doing rounds of 10 minutes without stop. So the whole idea is, doesn't matter if you get tired, doesn't matter if you get tapped, but you keep going, right? Because what happens, people train strong, they get tired, they step out, rest, they come back, so they keep doing that. So once you get tired, you have to use technique. So that's how we start flow. So that kind of like, that's the way we train with them. We're gonna train and do rounds of 10 minutes. That was right, a bunch of black belts, stuff like that. Man, we train in 10 minutes, right? Don't train in short time and then just doing at least 1 hour without stopping. So how are you gonna be powerful, strong for 1 hour? Training, you can't. So you have to learn how to flow. So that's the kind of stuff I started developing my school. And those guys understanding, know how to train without using any of that kind of stuff. But that's what the style from Grace back in time.
That's awesome. And Angel, I've only got to train with you a couple times, but it felt like to me like you have a real flowing type of a game too, or at least you were. I mean, just probably taking it easy on me, but you have a real flow, man. But like you're all about the finish, the attacks. How do you teach your students?
Yeah, I teach my students that, okay, you got to learn how to get the basic techniques down. If you don't have a base, you're not going to have anything. A lot of big kids, students, when they come in, they're very interested in all the fancy movements, like the barimbolos and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And The way I tell them is, I go, I got to teach you the basics of jiu-jitsu, how to basically pass a guard, how to basically escape from the bottom, how to basically, submit people from your guard. The basic system that we're taught by Mauricio, Speedy, Ray, you know what I mean? All of our instructors, the base. And then once you got a good base, we can open up. But I do hold the spider guard high because, we come from a spider guard professor, Mauricio, thank you. And I definitely show the spider guard in the beginning of their career. Once they, start the base, and you got to have a basic spider guard and learn how to use it properly. Because we're a spider guard school, and we got to be out there fighting right. If we're not fighting right, my professor's going to get on me, and I got to make sure everyone's taught right. So, we got to keep a good base. You got to stay humble, and you got to, you'll learn. You're going to get submitted. You're going to get caught. Your ego's going to go out the door. The way I direct my school, though, is when somebody signs up, or the way I shape it is, I got to make sure that they don't got a bad attitude. They don't got an ego. I talk to them before they even sign up, because if they do, it's not going to work at Halo, because we're surrounded around a bunch of positive people and instructors and students, and it's all about the energy. If you don't have the right energy, you're not going to be able to train. And jiu-jitsu is meant to be positive, and it makes you a better person in your everyday life. Regardless of what you do, it's going to make it better because it's true and honest, and it never will lie to you. You're going to step on the mat, you're going to get caught in a submission. So I'm about the truth, and jiu-jitsu is the truth, and it's all about the base first.
I have a question, a competition question.
Yes, sir.
For both coaches, and Mauricio, if you can tell us a little bit about your philosophy as far as competition for students. When do you feel they're ready? Does it matter if they're white, blue, or up to black? How do you make a decision as far as your competition team? When do you start? And Angel, same question, but how do you start finding out who's going to compete and not for you?
So the thing about jiu-jitsu, we have the competition. It's by levels, weight division, right? So it shouldn't be fighting as a white belt, as a blue belt, as a purple belt, so all different levels, right? The thing about competition, it's a lot of learning from this, right? So I believe everybody do jiu-jitsu, they shouldn't do a competition, right? Some people love it, some people don't like it. If you don't like it, but you shouldn't try to see, because there's a lot of lessons to learn. And we know the students that are training for competition, they take more serious, right? So they learn a little bit faster, because once you sign up for a tournament, you have to get ready, training, that kind of stuff. But it's a lot of, jiu-jitsu is not just about competition. Competition is just a little part about this martial arts can give you. But it's a lot of lessons you can learn from competition. How we deal with the pressure, how we learn, once you're training hard and you got the first place, it makes you feel good. If you're training hard and then you lose it, you have to do it. So it's a lot of different stuff you can learn, but it shouldn't be answer your question. It shouldn't be as long as when you start to feel like, you're a white belt. Yeah, you have to, because a lot of people have that mindset. I need to get ready first before I go to competition. So we're never gonna feel in a way like, oh, I'm 100% ready, right? So what happens as a white belt, you train. Once you start feeling good, then you're gonna be a blue belt. Now, if you go to competition as a blue belt, but you have a zero experience, so you have a level of blue belt, but experience as a white belt, a zero, you need a white belt. So you gotta jump on that water right away and to learn that.
All right. Nice.
Yeah. The competition part, that's one thing I love about Angel is you have a great positive attitude, man, and the way you do it. Like I've seen you compete in big shows like Fight to Win, and I know you'd like to travel the world, which is what I really admire. I'm just always like, man, how's this guy getting all the way around this world like this with sponsors or what? You must really love it. Hey, man.
You know what? My life, I never thought it'd be 150% jiu-jitsu, but as of this, before all this, it's 150% jiu-jitsu now. Yes, I got an air conditioning company, but I put all my marbles in, and the school's been built. It's and it's I'm like, and I compete. I started competing when I first started jiu-jitsu. I started competing. I was training, 5 months, and then I did my first tournament as a white belt. And I'm a natural warrior. I grew up wrestling. I was in the Army and all that. So my coaches, of course, Luis and Ray at the time, they're definitely going to throw me to the wolves and let me see what happens. And I'm glad that they did that. And I'm a firm believer of throwing the students to the wolves. If they tell me they're ready, they're going to learn a lesson, and that's good. A lesson learned is better than not learning at all. So I let them know. I let them know what they're getting into. I go, look, you roll in here. It's tough at practice. You're barely getting the basic fundamentals down of jiu-jitsu, but you want to go to the tournament, you're a white belt, let's get out there and let's see how you do, and let's learn a lesson. So I'm a firm believer of throwing people out there as soon as they say they're ready. And I can kind of tell, I'm like, nah, you're not ready yet. Let's wait for a couple more months, 3-4 months, and then you'll be ready. But there's some guys that are just natural raw talent. I'm like, let's get out there and see what happens. Even though they're a wrestler, they gotta, they're going to get tapped by a guy with good jiu-jitsu. So good for like a wrestler. He's aggressive and he's been wrestling his whole life to go to a tournament and get tapped so he can also be humble. So I'm just a firm believer of throwing them to the wolves. And when they're ready, let's learn some lessons. Yes.
That's it. I've always felt, man, it's great winning. Winning is an awesome feeling, but I could honestly say like the best lessons I've ever got were after a loss, either in MMA or in jiu-jitsu. Now, Tinguinha, you started martial arts at an early age, I think around 11, in judo.
Yeah, I started training at judo first, right? Judo in Brazil, right? We don't have now we have a wrestling, but as here, there's no wrestling. So judo is kind of like a wrestling in Brazil, where we have in school, high school, that kind of stuff. So I started training early age judo. My brother Marco, right? He started training jiu-jitsu at the Grace Academy, and that's when he started talking about Grace jiu-jitsu, that kind of stuff. And then I started transitioning from judo to jiu-jitsu. And then at that time, I was 11 years old. 11, 12 years.
Did you say Michael, your brother Michael?
No, Marco.
Okay.
Brother, yeah.
So did you compete in judo at an early age?
Yes, I did a competition in judo. I was all the way to orange belt, right? And then I did a competition. And when I started training jiu-jitsu, I still train in judo right now for competition, but still doing judo training.
So, Tinguinha, at some point, was there a Japanese migrant black belt judo that came to Brazil?
So
who brought judo to there?
So judo, it's a long story, right? Judo and jiu-jitsu are the same. At some point, the Japanese behind the story, they decide to kind of split judo and jiu-jitsu, right? So the judo, they want to teach for the whole world. So once I don't know the time, they went at the same time. They start going to a different place to teach judo. So judo has a big, in Brazil, judo, 11 judo in Brazil, traditional, right? We have a traditional judo in Brazil, and a lot of Japanese went there and started the whole thing, and then a lot of people train judo over there. Right? So, and the time I started doing jiu-jitsu, as a popularity, right? The judo was here, jiu-jitsu was here, right? Only a few people train jiu-jitsu, not a lot. And judo, everybody, all the kids, all the parents, they put kids in judo. Right? With the time, jiu-jitsu started getting bigger, more popular. Right? Jiu-jitsu was the time I started training has a negative vision for the people out there because it was related to MMA. Right? So people, every time they think about jiu-jitsu, they will think about MMA, and then not MMA today, but the Vale Tudo, no Rose Bar, that kind of stuff. So a lot of parents, they want to keep the kids away from the jiu-jitsu. They think this is just for adults. People want to fight it on the street, that kind of stuff. Right? With the time, with the tournaments, the national, the world championship, and the jiu-jitsu sport getting bigger, so that kind of went away, and the kids started training jiu-jitsu. By the time I started training jiu-jitsu, there was no, the school I started training, there was no kids class, because there was no kids training. So I started training with adults, right? I was 11 years old, but I had to train adult class because there was no kids class. So jiu-jitsu was not popular for kids in Brazil.
So when you decided to start jiu-jitsu, who was the head instructor at the Gracie Baja? Was it Carlos Gracie Jr.?
So I started training 11 years old, right? And my brother was training at the Gracie, And there was and let's talk about late 80s, right? I'm old man. So this 80s, right? So the Gracies are together. So I believe a lot of the Gracies still they have a house. There was a house there with a bunch of Gracies. Everybody was together. Training into the class. So I started training with a purple belt, named Pitoco, me, Draculino, some guys, because we hang out on the street or in Barra, all the friends together. And this guy was a purple belt back the time. Today, he's a black belt. He has a school called In Fight. It's a big team, well known. So we all train over there because the Gracie was too expensive. Right? My brother was already training there. And, it was too expensive. I started training with my friends, right? We trained at this place. And then I transitioned to Gracie. Jack was Carlos Gracie Jr. and John Jack was the both guys were teaching, right? John Jack was the main instructor. Carlinhos was teaching, I believe, 2 times a week. John Jack was teaching all the classes. And then I was training only with John Jack Machado, right? This is the Gracie Barra School. John Jack left to the U.S. and then I went training with and that time you talk about Gordo, Soca, Sonequinha, Draculino, many names, right? Everybody was training under John Jack on the class. When John Jack left, everybody went to the Carlinhos. So on that transition, I'm talking about I'm 15 years old, still young, right? I was a blue belt. I was only 15 years old. And then from 15 years old all the way to black belt, 100% under Carlos Gracie Jr.
That's amazing. Didn't also at that time Nino Shrimbri?
So Nino came after. Nino came as a blue belt. He was training black belt called Jorge Pereira, well-known black belt from Brazil, and he was a black belt from Rico. So Nino came from that school when he was a blue belt in Barra, and I was a little bit. I was already purple belt when he came.
So did at that school, Tinguinha, is that also where Ralph Gracie and Renzo Gracie trained?
Yes. So that's the thing, we talk about the timing. Everybody the same rule, right? So, Renzo Gracie, Ralph Gracie, Ryan Gracie, Gordo, the Machados, Soca, Draculino, Nino, Roleta. So, man, that was
Roleta,
yeah.
Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Everybody in the same room training, getting ready, right? It was like amazing time.
Roleta, whatever happened to that guy?
He's still training, but he's an engineer, so he stopped teaching. I don't think he teaches class anymore, and he has a regular job, right? and work, but just training for recreation, right?
That guy's a legend. All those guys are legends, man. That's awesome. So how old was Ralph Gracie compared to you? Was he quite a bit older than you back then?
Yeah, he's like, because the day I got the purple belt, my purple belt, it was the same day Ralph got his black belt. Ralph and Gordo got the black belt, and the same day I got my purple belt. So I was 17 years old. So Gordo and Ralph is like this, my generation, right? It's me, Feitosa, some other guys, and then the next generation is Draculino, Soca, Sonequinha, and the other generation is Gordo, Ralph, right? So the Ralph must be like 4 years older than me.
Are you guys hearing this out there, you students that are out there? I know a lot of your students, Angel and Speedy students, you guys will watch this later on. Hey, man, this right here is what I wanted to talk about here, dude. Straight history and the lineage of where your guys' jiu-jitsu came from.
Yes.
Hey, Angel, what do you think about all that, man?
Man, that's just historical news, and to know that Tinguinha's background is just like I said. I was just so blessed to become a Tinguinha black belt. From him being an historical figure, coming to America and bringing his jiu-jitsu over here and with his lineage, and just being so close to the lineage is amazing, and just I don't take that for granted one bit, and I'm thankful every day for it, and my students know how much it means to me. That's why I call him King T, because you see his Tinguinha logo everywhere. So when he, when you see my students running around, they got the T because that's out of respect for my professor and my team, and that's how we roll. And it's a positive thing, and we're just so lucky to be able to do this. This is easy. Yes.
Thank you, Angel.
You're welcome.
Luis, right? I have the chance to meet Angel too, Luis, right? And day one, it was the same way, right? So first time I thought I knew white belt, just love jiu-jitsu, probably some points it's not gonna be that way. So he's the same way his hand is. So I really start understand Angel when we did a trip to Brazil together, right?
That was fun.
Yeah, probably 2 weeks there together, right?
Yes, sir.
Training every day, doing all this stuff. That's
yes,
what I really, that's when I really realized how special this guy is, right? His energy, right? From early in the morning to all the way to night, he's still the same energy, right? About training, positive is and stuff. So just to be around him, it makes you wants to train jiu-jitsu, right? So this is amazing, and you see the work he's doing at his school and his students, right? So that's something very special for what he has, right? And it's amazing to see that, right? And he's like this from the day one he starts training jiu-jitsu, right? This is what amazing, right? Because you can see people going ups and downs, stuff like that. His mindset is always the same. He's like we talk about his attitude about tournaments, right? He has the best attitude I ever see, right? Because he's going there. Because you can go there, yeah, I'm here, right? No, he's going there to do business, right? He fight hard, but whatever happened there, he go back to training the next day, and he's still the same mindset. I never see him complain about anything. That's what amazes me, right? There's no complaint about. Because everybody will do tournaments, right? But I did that, right? I lost the fight, man. The referee. Oh man, this guy, man. He's just like, all right, it's all good. I'm back tomorrow, and he's back tomorrow. Boom, 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 right? So his mindset is unbelievable.
Angel,
thank you, King T. Hey, I want to say one thing to Tinguinha. Thank you, Tinguinha. That means a lot to me coming from you, and you motivate me every day more than you know. And I can't wait to get back out there with my students and compete. And I want to go back and compete again myself. I'm not done yet, and I feel great right now. And I'm just thankful to be alive. And all this bad time's gonna be over. Watch, guys, it's gonna be over. We're gonna get back, and everything's gonna be better than ever. I truly believe. That's my honest opinion about this. But go ahead, Tom.
Hey, I was going to say, man, the first time I met you, I met you through the podcast, of course, but one of the first times I really met you was at one of the Fight to Win competitions where I was refereeing, and I seen you. You always had a positive attitude, but not too many people after they lose a fight to somebody, especially in front of a big crowd and everything, will keep that positive attitude and then show respect and love to their opponent after. And that's the first thing I saw out of you. And man, you were right back in the gym training right after the very next day. And then next thing you know, you're across the world training. I was like, man, this guy really loves it, no matter what the outcome is. That's a rare thing.
I made my mind up. I'm going straight forward, and it's going to be a journey. There's going to be trial and error. Everything's not going to be peas in a pod. I'm going to come up short, of course, and that's okay because that makes me better. Instead of saying coming up short, it's more or less I learned a lesson. And I'm okay to learn lessons because I'm going to be a student forever. I learn every day. Like when I go to Tinguinha's and train, like when he says Hell Week, I've been there and I've almost died and I love it. When I leave Tinguinha's, I'm like dead and I'm like, I feel so good driving back down the highway back home. I'm like, man, I did something positive. I feel good. And when I leave his school, he seasons me up. He's like, Angel, you're doing this, do that. So like he sees my holes in my game because I'm a white belt to him still because, he's a black belt, So to have my eyes on me and all the students and like what we do and shape us up is amazing. So, he'll tell me, Angel, switch your grip to here. You do this, watch that. And I always change it when he tells me to, and it works. And I bring it straight back to my students. That next day, on Monday or Tuesday, I'm teaching that technique that Professor Master Mauricio Tinguinha, he showed me on the weekend. I bring it straight back and I teach it to my students, and that's how they get good. And I show them the secret grips and all the fun stuff that we do to people. There ain't no secret grips, but you know what I'm saying? There's things that
There's
work.
some that work. There's definitely some that work better than others, though.
Always.
Hey,
go ahead.
That brings me to the next. That brings me right into the next question. Is this? Because I know this is important to you, Tinguinha, because you're coming out of a really legit lineage of jiu-jitsu, and I think it's very important that I know jiu-jitsu is evolving and it's constantly changing. It's changing by the minute, by the second, by the day. But since you started jiu-jitsu and since Royce Gracie fought in the UFC and Ralph Gracie, in those early MMA days, it was a more of a different basic style of jiu-jitsu. How do you keep jiu-jitsu from getting your style of jiu-jitsu from getting watered down as it passes down through Angel and through the next black belt and to his guy? Because it's going to keep changing. What's the important thing so it doesn't get watered down?
It's the foundation. It's easy, right? Definitely jiu-jitsu have evolved, right? And it's great, right? Imagine, jiu-jitsu stay the same, right? We need to evolve, right? So jiu-jitsu has been a lot of new stuff come in, a lot of real good stuff, and some bad stuff. But you need the foundation, right? So how we don't lose that, you keep the foundation strong, and then you can go. Our generation, Gracie Barra, it was a part of that. I feel like I was in a special moment because we have the foundation, the self-defense, all the stuff, and I still getting all the solid foundation, and the new stuff is start coming with the tournaments, right? So I kind of have the chance to see both, and the way Carlos was always open mind, right? He was, a guy real good with a half guard. You got a guy real good with the butterfly. You got a Nino with the rubber guard. You got amazing guys in different games. But he only teaches us the basic, and because we have a good foundation, we'll be able to start develop a lot of techniques. But if we see we need the foundation, he's gonna go back to us. But man, we have to do the basics right. So how we do this to make sure our team know the foundation, but you can go away from the foundation. Like I like to say, the foundation nothing is perfect. The foundation is supposed to be perfect, right? So make sure you master the foundation, right? And then from there, you'll be free to go any direction you want, but the foundation has to be there. So that's what I try to pass to those guys: work the foundation, and let your students develop this stuff and make sure, our job. The best thing I can give to my students is the foundation, right? The basics, right? And this is about life too, right? The foundation we have in our life from our parents, right? How to talk to people, how to be respected, that kind of stuff. And we share this for all your life. So that's the same thing in jiu-jitsu. So that's the foundation, and your kids are going to do stuff, they're going to develop stuff, but if you don't have the foundation, you're not going to go too far, right? Compared to life.
So is the spider guard, Mauricio, one of the, how would you break that down, and how long have you been mastering it, and how long have you been teaching it and learning it, and when did you start the spider guard?
So, this was a process, right? I didn't create a spider guard. I was able to develop a lot of stuff in the spider guard. I've been training. There's no instructor videos, so I never learned about somebody came to me. This is spider guard. Like I said, I started training at a young age in adult class. So I was small, 12 years old, 11 years old, training with adults. I couldn't be on top, right? They just pushed me. So you go on the bottom, old school, close guard. I couldn't close my guard, right? Well, if I close, they open. So I have to develop a way to use my legs to keep away rather than his match. So I start to feel comfortable and use the legs. From there, naturally, I start holding the sleeve, doing this stuff. Later on, somebody told me this is spider guard. I didn't know. It was so by the way, to start feeling comfortable from that working technique, stuff like that. Well, I felt like I really mastered the spider guard when I started teaching the spider guard. Because I remember the first time I did my DVD, right, the spider guard DVD, I never looking back, I just playing the spider guard because, like I said, there was people showing me the techniques, and I remember I started writing the techniques. When I finished, I have 38 techniques on the spider guard, and I didn't know I knew all the techniques. Everything came from doing, and then when I started breaking down, teaching the people, then I started understanding why I was doing this, why and kind of stuff, and that's when I really started to understand how this works. It was a process, years, right? But first time as a survivor, to have a way to keep people away from it.
Nice.
So did they teach those type of? You said you didn't create the spider guard. Was there somebody right there in Gracie Baja that you saw using that type of a guard, or was that just part of the curriculum?
No, it was not part of the curriculum, right? The way we trained was very, we didn't have the foundation was there, right? Escape from the mouth, whoop escape, all this stuff. But other techniques, everything was very loose, right? So you learn it from each other. Some details here. I remember playing spider guard, well in the back. Renzo, a little bit. Right? Renzo was first guy that playing butterfly guard was him really well, right? But I saw Renzo playing spider guard, here and there. It wasn't. That's the way you do. You gotta do this way, right? And the same way you gotta do people back in the mat. People come, you go in and actually go back, and then start doing it, right?
So awesome, man! Straight knowledge and history, guys.
That's
Archie,
amazing.
what, you ever mess around with the spider guard, Archie?
I have. Where I first saw it is through Angel, and it's epic, the spider guard through the Tinguinha system. I mean, I think everybody in the valley knows it. And speaking about the valley, Angel, you know it well. Tom and I have been talking to other professors from the valley and how jiu-jitsu got here. And Tinguinha, I mean, it's an awesome, a pleasure to talk to you. And you're a big part of the valley jiu-jitsu here in the Central Valley. And it's amazing, to know and to be able to talk to you. It's just amazing. Starting with Angel and then Luis and then Josh Bowling, right? So it's a cool deal. I mean, I use this spider guard.
And I'm very happy to see, the schools over there doing really well, right? Doesn't matter which team. And kind of like, I remember the first time going there, and Mike Sir, Luis, everybody wants to learn, understand more, that kind of stuff. So today you see a lot of schools, everybody doing well, and then I like to see and the way Angel doing stuff, right? He's along with everybody, like Jiu-Jitsu has that kind of like teams, they try to be like, but I like it. I see you guys in tournament, and I see everybody talking together, helping stuff like that. So I like that vibe. You know what I mean? You guys build over there.
Love it.
It's good stuff, man. Yeah, there's definitely a good vibe, and one thing definitely Tinguinha, you've done a good job with your students. But like I say, this guy right here, Angel Lopez, he's a real gentleman, and he's been real cool with us, and I could tell his students like him a lot, and he's a good person for the community. Real quick, guys, I'm glad we didn't talk too much about the coronavirus, but we should just real quick. It seems like the jiu-jitsu, I mean, everybody's locked in there. Not everybody, but a lot of us are locked inside right now, and we're dealing with this coronavirus. And if you're like a lot of people, you're going on Facebook and Twitter and all the social media, and you're watching the news, and you're seeing nothing but negative and nothing but fear, and people like pumping fear into you. But what I've noticed with the close people that I know in jiu-jitsu, you two, Tom Knox, a lot of people that I know, you guys aren't doing that. You guys are still keeping your thing going. And Tinguinha, it looks like you've been doing a little teaching out of your front room.
Yes, sir. Yeah, like man, it's a lot of fear, right? There's a lot of fear going around. I'm taking very serious, right? With the truth is nobody knows nothing. There's a lot of people thinking this and that, right? So jiu-jitsu is not gonna go anywhere, right? So a lot of people, oh my God, like man, we're gonna find a way. Whatever is gonna happen, we're gonna find a way to to train, right? So the words now is to adapt, right? I see, because people don't train in jiu-jitsu, they don't understand how this is important to us, right? So there's no way like we see crazy videos, people training with the chair, people training with the whatever it is, right? Well, so I understand that because people wants to train and they need to train. Jiu-jitsu changes so many people's lives, save people's life. How are you gonna just come in and like, that's it, we can't train anymore, that's it? It's not gonna happen, right? So we're gonna find a way. So right now, we need to slow down a little bit, make sure understand what's happening, adapt, right? So if you online stuff, maybe some people train, live in the house, they train just a few people here and there, but just transition, and we're gonna find a way to get back, right? It's amazing. You see a lot of people support the schools, right? A lot of the students still support the schools because the deals still coming, right? Our team, they've been amazing, helping us. We need to help each other, not just one team, another team, because some people it's gonna be very challenged, and we need as a community, we need to get together and help each other, right? But this is gonna pass, and we're gonna move forward, and we're gonna be stronger than ever, right?
Yeah. Keep the positivity going.
That's it. Got to stay positive, man. I say that, I say they open back up the economy now because, America's about freedom. And if people want to quarantine themselves or wear masks, you're free to do it because you're in America. So let's stop. Somebody like I might have a neighbor that might be scared. So just because my neighbor's scared doesn't mean that I shouldn't be able to go to work. If they want to be scared, they can stay in their home and they can put on a mask in their house, or they can quarantine themselves to be safe. But we should be able to go free right now because me being a soldier, I know a lot of this is bull and it's not all true. All the stats of how many people died from coronavirus, all that's a lie, a lot of it, okay? We come from America, and it's a crazy country, and we're beasts, and I believe Donald Trump's going to open back up. I don't want to get too far into politics, but Donald Trump is the reason why we're going to open back up. And if we didn't have Donald Trump as a president, I think we'd be quarantined almost forever because that's the way they want us to be, right? But
Angel,
yes.
having military training, jiu-jitsu training, martial arts training, how do you tell the folks to deal with this fear? Because that's what the people are putting into us, right?
I'll say again. So how do I have them deal with the fear?
Hey,
how would
having all your
out there deal with it?
The way
a lot of people are scared.
Yes, and I recommend just don't look at the news too much because it's supposed to be there to scare you. So if you always see it, and the problem with the news today, now we have Facebook, now we have Instagram. So you see all the posts on Facebook, you got all these people sharing posts about coronavirus killed 1 million people, this, whoop-de-whoop. So everybody's gonna, if you see it enough, you're gonna believe it. So there's some people that are believing in it, and I'm like, wow, I didn't think you were that kind of person, but you're kind of gullible. Don't feed into it. Don't feed into the news media. Don't feed into it. When you see it, turn it off. Unless it's time to open back up. Right now, we got ordinance to open back up. As of right now, we're going to be able to open up on May 6th. I hope it doesn't get exposed, because if it does, that's ridiculous, and the agenda is just bigger, and they're trying to scare us a little bit more. So once they open up, everybody's buying the ventilators, and they're buying the vaccines or whatever, and they made their money. The government made their money, right? So don't feed into the fear. Don't watch the news. Turn it off. Relax. Enjoy your family time right now. I'm looking at this more as, okay, it's a break. Pretty soon we're all going to get going again. So stay positive. Don't listen to the news and Facebook.
You heard it right there, guys, from one of the most positive guys I know.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
sir.
Guys, man, that's, as always on MMA Fight Pass on this podcast, guys, you guys are going to hear stories, and every time we get guys on here, it's always a different story. Hopefully we keep spreading the history of jiu-jitsu, and once the virus goes away, me and Archie will continue to go around to the dojos and do our other show. It's called Inside the Dojo, and we've done most of the schools here in the Valley. We've done Angel School, and we've done pretty much all the schools in the Valley.
We need to go
and
visit
our goal,
Mauricio. We need to go to Southern California.
We want to hit all the schools, man.
If you guys want to do inside the garage, come to my house tonight and we can do inside the garage. I'm right here. I got the mat. You know, I've been doing demonstration videos for the students, putting it on our mind body, you know, so they can study it during this time. So, you know, I've been demonstrating some videos for them. I was going to demonstrate at the gym, but the neighbors got a little bit, I don't know who snitched, but somebody said I was filming, you know, like in there. So whatever the case may be, I'm happy. I'm still alive. I'm doing jiu-jitsu in my garage and I'm safe. And if you want to come,
they called somebody. That's to see if somebody calls them.
Yeah, well, somebody said something because there was an ordinance, you know, a notice on my window that said, "Don't train again. If you do, you're going to get fined." So they already came by the gym and put the thing up. We haven't been in there since, and we're all in garages and we're all doing what we got to do to stay safe. I usually have about 10, 12 people here, 2 over 10, but, you know, nothing's perfect in life, right? So we're just learning and having a good time, you know, and, you know, staying away from each other. And it seems like everybody's loosening up a little bit, you know, so I hope that that's what's going on. At least in my neighborhood, it seems that way. But when we drive on the roads, there's a lot of paranoid people wearing masks in the car and the windows are up. That don't make no sense.
Yeah, the reality is, you know,
yeah,
it's not possible to everybody stay home, right? For how long it is, right? You can't. We have to find a way. You know, the world has to find a way to leave, right? It's not real, right?
Right.
So let's be patient, right? The truth is, a lot of people try to understand more to learn, right? So there's gonna be a transition period. You know, let's adapt. You know, the world is adapt. But at some point, you know, this is not going to be possible to keep people inside the home, right? People have to work. Like Brazil, man, people have to wake up in the morning, work so they can buy the lunch. How are you going to tell those people to stay home?
Right.
That's
not freedom. That's not freedom.
So they have to, you know, at some point, you know, we you know, they have to find a way to, you know.
Yes, sir.
Let us all back into the gym.
Yeah, it's not about money. It's about survive, right?
Yeah. Yes.
People, but people just think about money. No, it's not about money. It's about survive, right? People has to work so they can eat. So
amen. Yeah, that's right. It's about, what about the people that see a lot of the people that want us to stay indoors have good jobs and they're working and they're doing good and they're not worried about it because they're getting paid every month. But what about the person in the small business that can't go to work and feed his family? That's not fair. So what if the people that are wanting us to stay home, why don't they just stay home instead and let us go to work and risk our freedoms? Right?
There's a lot of damage.
That's where I'm at. I'm a soldier and I believe in dangerous freedom. I love my freedom and we fought for our country. You know, I was in the United States Army and I believe in freedom and it's time to go back to work. It's time for everybody to go back to work. Let's stop being scared and let's exercise our freedoms and let's do this.
Well, it's going to happen, guys. It's definitely going to happen. God bless America and the whole world. You know, and it's going to happen.
God bless the world, though. Yes, exactly.
God bless the whole world. Well,
amen.
You know what? It's things happen for a reason, I believe, and it's going to happen. But it's not easy for everybody. It's a lot tougher for a lot of people, and it is easy for people to have a job. But
exactly.
You know, anyhow, guys. We're going to keep it going, man. We're going to keep a positive vibe going. Me and Archie, we're going to keep traveling around to different schools, and hopefully, even if these videos just get to one person and it opens somebody's mind up or gives them like the courage to walk into a gym. Hey, for a lot of people, for a lot of grown men, I'll tell you, it's not easy to walk. For me, I'll be honest, man. I'm not no tough guy or anything. For me to walk into a gym like a dojo or something is not the easiest thing. Even after training for all these years, I'm still nervous and I still get scared. That's just an honest fact because you don't know what's going to happen when you go. But when I walk into your gym, Angel, or like yours, Tinguinha, after a couple days there, you see a whole different vibe. So I hope you guys keep that up, man. It's a good positive thing. And if these videos just get one guy to walk into a jiu-jitsu gym, because the thing I noticed about jiu-jitsu, most of the people that I met that came into my school, it wasn't that they were trying to be some kind of fighter or competitor. Most of these guys had some kind of mental disability, a lot of them. And it seemed like to me, a lot of the guys that come into a martial arts school, they're more looking for like a family or like a brotherhood. Have you noticed that?
Yes, sir. And I like that because in jiu-jitsu, I treat it like a family. And I tell all my students that, I go, because that's what jiu-jitsu is about. It's the family that a lot of people never had. You got some people that don't got a first family. And then I got students that Halo Jiu-Jitsu is their first family. So it's like, it's a family. You know what I mean? It's a family. We treat it like that. And I'm going to help you change your tire if you get a flat in the parking lot. We're gonna help each other. You want a sandwich? You're hungry. Hey, coach, I'm hungry. I need a place to stay. I've had a student tell me that before. And I'm like, come to my house, come get some blankets, everything. You could go to the gym and go sleep. Gave him the key to the gym, went to sleep. He was good. He's all right, I'm good, coach. Brought me the key back. Everything got back in order. But we're supposed to help each other out like that, you know? And I believe in that. And I love jiu-jitsu. I'm going to help my students till the day I die. And I love all my students. I love you guys. Can't wait to see you again. And can't wait to go see you, King T. Get out there and train with the whole family. Tell everyone I said hi at the Tinguinha Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu headquarters, please. I love my Tinguinha family. And love you guys, too. You guys are great guys. Keep the positive energy. Archie and let's do this.
Yeah.
We're going to keep that. Before we go, guys, I got to
Yes.
talk one more thing because we didn't get to cover it. This is kind of new. It's not too new, but it is new a little bit for Master T. We didn't talk any bit about you. You teach at the UFC gym. I think that's important. Can you talk about that just a little bit? What is your position at the UFC Academy?
Well, I don't teach the UFC gym now. I still have my school. That's the place I teach every day. So the UFC gym, just to give a quick explanation. So UFC gym, it's a gym. Number one, right? Number one is a gym where they have condition training, yoga, lifting weights, martial arts, right? They have jiu-jitsu, they have Muay Thai. So I am responsible for the jiu-jitsu inside the UFC gym. So I'm the senior director for the program inside the UFC gym. Right now, all the UFC gyms from the corporate, there's two different UFC gyms. The UFC gyms from the corporation owned by the UFC, and that's the UFC gyms franchise, right? So I work direct for the UFC gym for the corporation, and those UFC gyms are 17 UFC gyms. And they have the franchise and kind of helping to oversee the BJJ program is over there. So my job is to make sure they have qualified instructors. They have to be a purple belt or black belt to come to teach. And we have a certification when they come in. There's a system that have to be followed, right, with the rules, that kind of stuff. So we have a certification. And then I'll oversee those gyms. Every gym, they have a head instructor. I'm talking about the corporation gyms. Every gym, they have a head instructor. That means they have a black belt. And the black belt is responsible for the program over there to follow the system, that kind of stuff. Oversee all the instructors. And on top of that, right, we have the UFC gym, the franchise, and we have the international, right? So today, there are, I believe, 36 or 37 countries, the UFC gym. So UFC gyms all over the world. And most of the UFC gyms, they have a mat, right? So they have a jiu-jitsu, right? For the corporation, it's a big UFC gym. Franchise is smaller, right? So every gym for the corporation, they have a jiu-jitsu program over there. And that's my job, to try helping to organize the program. That's it.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Wow.
So today it's the number of the students just from the corporation side. It was 5,000 students, right? 17 gyms, they have 5,000 students trained. Right now, everything has changed, right? All the gyms are closed. They don't know what's going to happen on the way back, right? With the rules, that kind of stuff. But international, there's a lot of UFC gyms, so yeah, it's a lot of work. But the thing is, I have my school. Once I step in for the UFC gym, my goal is to help to organize the jiu-jitsu, right? So today, a lot of people don't know this, but today we have, just from the corporate side, almost 100 BJJ instructors teaching. And from those 100, I believe 40, 45, they teach full-time, right? So we know once you jiu-jitsu, you want to teach in class, for you have your own school. A lot of people can have your own school. There's a lot of steps. There's a lot of stuff you need to do. So a lot of people has the job today and make a living in jiu-jitsu because they went to gym. So it helps a lot. And a lot of new students are training jiu-jitsu, right? So a lot of people from the community in jiu-jitsu, was kind of what about, they didn't like it, right? Who are those guys? But 90% of the students that start training inside the UFC gym, they never trained jiu-jitsu before. And those people, they never will be stepped like Tom was described right now. They will never step inside a small school because they're too afraid. What happens in the UFC gym is a place so big, people go there to lift the weight, that kind of stuff. They see the mat, they see people, oh, there's a lady training, there's an older guy training, so maybe I can do that. So we have a lot of new students coming. So they bring a lot of new students for the jiu-jitsu because of that, right? So at the end of the day, the UFC gym is helping a lot the community of jiu-jitsu to get bigger, right?
That's what we're seeing here in the Valley, right, Tom? Like De La Cruz, they're inside a gym that has weights and treadmills. And so now they put jiu-jitsu inside those type of schools or gyms. And I guess people, like you're saying, Coach Mauricio, that people feel comfortable now to join jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's so hard for you walking, like Red Tom said, right? For me, it's hard to imagine this because I started training when I was 11 years old, right? So it's hard for me to picture that, but it's a lot of people is like, to walk inside a jiu-jitsu school, you really have to want to train it real bad. If you have a question, I'm not going, right? Go knock on the door, get in, bunch of people training, right? We have an open space with a lot of people doing a bunch of stuff, lifting weights, doing this, doing that. You're looking. That's what it happens a lot. You see people looking, and then one day they come in, right? So that happens a lot.
Cool.
Very, very cool, man.
Yeah.
Man, time flies by quick, guys. But if you guys just listen to all that, that's quite a bit of knowledge and history in one show. Next week's show, guys, we got quite a few good guests. Don't we, Archie, coming up? We got Tosh Cook, another jiu-jitsu black belt here in the Valley. He's a black belt under Royce Gracie. We're going to have him on the show next week. And then we have Tyson Johnson, I believe his name is. He's a well-known referee at a Gladiator Challenge and King of the Cage. And we got a lot of good guests coming up. Tinguinha and Angel, thank you guys for taking the time today to, with coming out of your family life and everything to join us. And thank you, Tinguinha, so much for sharing those stories. Same with you, Angel.
Thank you.
Once this virus is over, and I know it will be over soon, me and Archie will be back out, and we'll go back to your guys' gym, and we'll do some videotaping and go over there and get rolled up by you guys. Have a little fun.
Let's do it, man. Let's have some fun and let's train.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to be here, and you guys are more than welcome anytime. Right?
Yeah, we're gonna make a road trip to Southern California and visit you. That's for sure, Tinguinha.
We go together too, man.
Another shout out to Luis Gonzalez and Ray Alvarado. Both of you gentlemen, when I was a blue belt and a white belt, you guys, before I fought in the cage in MMA, you two gentlemen, they played a big part of my jiu-jitsu history. Just getting beat up by those guys all the time. You'd be surprised what getting beat up and just getting tapped out by somebody over and over can do for you. It's great. But
it's amazing.
Honestly, that. Luis, I never ever got over on Luis. Luis always rolled me up in a nice way. But I got a lot out of training with that guy, man. But thanks a lot, Luis, for everything that you've done. Luis is a real quiet guy. A lot of people, you don't really hear anything from Luis. He's all about his business. But you guys, if you want to, after listening to this podcast, if you want to train under one of these affiliated schools, you're more than welcome to go check out Angel in Fresno at Halo Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay? Come on, please.
You could come here to Visalia. You could train with Josh Bowling at Resilience. You can go train with Luis Speedy Gonzalez, which I highly recommend, in Tulare, California. It's right down the street from here. And there's not many people there some nights. So you can go in there and you can get one-on-one with some of these guys. Everybody's very, very cool, man. Legit place to train right there. And there it is right there. Or you could take the trip down to Yorba Linda, California, and train with King T himself, and you'll always be welcomed in right there.
Yes,
so
sir.
we hope you guys enjoyed the show. Before we leave, we got to give a shout out real quick to our sponsors, guys, because it's important that we represent our sponsors. We got Rio Acai Bowls in Fresno, California. Guys, if you want to get some real acai, I'm not talking about the fake stuff because there's a lot of phony acai out there. If you've had the real thing, you'll know the difference. But Rio Acai Bowl, yeah, they got the real thing right there. And, man, the toppings, everything is on point. If you're into CBD oil, guys, if you've ever tried CBD oil or you want to try it, Gentle Arts CBD oil. They're one of our sponsors, and the guy, he's doing a great job. Some of you guys don't know about CBD oil. You see the marijuana leaf and you think, oh, it's going to get me messed up or high or stoned. It's nothing like that. There's no THC in it. There's nothing in there that will impair you. All it is, it's good for anxiety. It's good for sleep. Good for your appetite. It's good for depression. It's really good for joint pain. It's good for a lot of different things, but it's not going to get you stoned or drunk or any feeling like that. You can give that a try. We also, guys, if you guys like Mexican food and you're in Fresno, give La Enchilada Mexican food a try. It's right there on Blackstone. Guys, if you like Mexicano food, you want a nice torta or maybe a burrito or some tacos asada, some chile verde, el pastor. Hey, man, the real deal. Healthy food. It's whole food. Good people. They're supporting the community. Got to give a shout out to them, guys. So those are our sponsors right now. We're always looking for more, guys. And Tinguinha or Angel, do you have any sponsors you want to shout out before we close it up?
Yeah, I want to shout out to Rev Gear. They're my gi sponsor, you know, one of my biggest sponsors I've ever had. They're great. Thank you guys. They're really good, and I appreciate you. And let's give a shout out to Red Bowie CBDs. They're one of my sponsors as well. And let's give a shout out to, I also want to give a shout out to the Fight to Win Pro family for bringing professional jiu-jitsu to Fresno. Thank you very much. And I also want to give a shout out to Luke Chokis, which is Danny Castro, one of our students, and compliments to Sandro Batata. He made up the Luke Choke. He's a Luke Choki. Shout out to him out there. And then a shout out to Rayo Geese, one of my students, has another gi company, great guy. Rayo Geese, very classy uniform. Check him out. And shout out to everybody that does jiu-jitsu. And be happy, man. Be positive, and good things will happen. And before you know it, I'll be back in the gym.
Yeah.
Any sponsors, Tinguinha, you want to give a shout out?
No, man. I just number one to Ray, right? We talk about Luis and Ray. You know, Ray is a big part of this too. You know, Ray he lives in Texas now, I believe. But you know, we're missing a lot. But Ray is a big part of this. So, and then for all the students, right? For all the students, not just my students here, the headquarters, you know, Luis, Angel, all the team, you know. We have a great team. You know, the guys from Alaska, right? I'm using the shirt here from the team in Alaska. You know, Nebraska, Thailand. And we have a very special team. And also, you know, now at this time, you know, we're together, you know, unite to help each other. So that's it.
Oh, I want to give another shout out if I got time real quick. Shout out to I got 2 new affiliated schools. I got one in Lufkin, Texas, 6-gun martial arts. Shout out to you guys. You know, can't wait to get back out to Texas and get your guys' game in order. And shout out to another affiliate we have in Minot, South Dakota. So I'm excited about that as well, to Minot Martial Arts. So, you know, everything's been connected with my students, and that's how we connected. So I'm just excited that we got good things going, and I can't wait to give back to jiu-jitsu and get out there and make sure that they learn our style. I'm very excited. So
that's awesome. You know what, man? The cool thing about all this is we're not stuck on any kind of time limit or anything like that. We can basically do whatever we want with this kind of technology. We just normally keep it around an hour, but yeah. Once again, I'm just going to thank you guys. And Archie, thank you for keeping me involved in this podcast. You know what I mean? Tinguinha, I really hope that we get the chance to go down there and train with you again, man. It'd be really, really cool.
Yeah, my pleasure. Please. I would love it to have you here, man. Like old times.
Yes.
Okay, so guys.
No, are you still doing that triangle?
Yes, sir. Hey, you know what, man? Before we close it up, dude, I would like to say one thing, man. As a man, to you, Tinguinha, personally, because when I was training with you when I was younger, man, like this is important to me. It's something that really bothers me. It bothers me all the time. Is Tinguinha, you know, he gave the trust to me and Luis to go and stay with his mom, and you know, in Brazil, which is quite a thing for not really knowing me that long. And like I said, when I was young, when I went to Brazil, I was pretty young. And I grew up with in the neighborhood I grew up with was a lot of kids that all we did was these kids partied, man. They drank beer and they smoked weed, and it was always a lot of partying going on. And when I went to Brazil, like, yeah, jiu-jitsu and the world championships was on my mind, but like I said earlier, like partying was on my mind too. You know what I mean? A lot of things I had heard about Brazil is it was going to be this big party, and they have the carnival over there, and it was going to be a big party. But anyhow, at some point of the trip, I made the mistake of doing a little bit of partying and hanging out, you know, kind of with just doing the wrong things, man, and you know, drinking beer and doing a couple things that I shouldn't have been doing over there. And when the word got back to Master T, and one of the time when I came back to America, I went down to train with you, Tinguinha, and I remember you pulled me aside, and Luis was like, "Hey, man, he wants to talk to you." And in my head, I was like, "Oh man, maybe I'm gonna get promoted or something." And I go down there, and I remember you pulled me aside. Hey, and we're the same age. Me and you were the same age, but you pulled me aside in a real serious, like, but friendly manner. And Tinguinha just straight schooled me down. You know what I mean? Like the word had got back to him.
I don't remember.
Hey, you pulled me.
I can't imagine you doing this. I can't.
Hey, I'll tell you, because I remember it. I could see it in my head clear as a bell right now. You pulled me aside, and I just remember you telling me, like, look, man, like I trusted you to go over there and stay at my house with my mom, and you went over there, and you know, you trained and competed, but you did do some of these things. So I always just wanted to tell you, man, that I was young and stupid, and I apologize for doing that, dude.
No, man. See, as you talk now, I don't remember this. So that means, you know, it's already passed on my mind.
Long time ago, bro.
We do, you know, it's all about learning, right? And that's funny because I don't remember. My memory is not that good, but
mine either. But those kind of things I remember.
Yeah, but
my memory sucks.
Yeah, I appreciate.
Hey, I just, you know what, man, that was really something for you to let me in. For me at that age, bro, when I was young like that, I had never traveled anywhere in the world, dude. So, like, for me to go to Brazil like that, man, that was really something else. And like Luis, he just went there and competed and came back in 2 weeks, but I had a whole month to stay there, man. And like your mom, she treated, and your brother, Michael,
yeah,
he brought me around everywhere, man. Like he was my guide, my tour guide. And your mom treated me like she was my mom when I was over there, dude.
Nice.
And, so yeah, I always regretted doing that. And I've always been really embarrassed by it. Like it always kind of messed with me. So I just wanted to tell you that, you know what I mean? But hopefully we'll go down there and train, and I can make up for it, man.
No, man, it's already passed. You know, it's all about learning. You know, we're learning, and you know, I take things very serious, right? And like I said, Brazil, man, it's easy to get distracted. You know, being young over there, and you know, it's so easy to get trapped on that kind of stuff, right? So you gotta really be focused, right? But all good, man, for real, all good, right?
Awesome, man. I feel a lot better getting that off my chest, dude.
All right.
But anyway, Archie, I thank you again for this podcast. This is something else doing this, dude. I like it, man.
No, this is great, Tom. This is amazing. Just getting the history and learning about, you know, all the different arts in different places and how it all started. And one day we'll get a documentary out of all this.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Great times.
It's gonna be cool, man. All right, you guys that are out there that are watching us live, I know some of you guys are watching live, and a lot of you guys are gonna watch this later on. Please do us a favor, man. We're still doing this. We want to keep going, and we're not gonna stop. Even if we don't have 20 views, 200 views, or thousands later on. Some of our videos now are starting to get up there in the views, but the more views that we get and the more people we can get subscribed, the more stuff that we can do with this. And like all we're doing, we're not even trying to make money or nothing, man. All we're doing is learning more about jiu-jitsu and other arts too, not just jiu-jitsu, all martial arts. And jiu-jitsu is our passion, so we're going with that. All we're trying to do is spread the knowledge and the history, and hopefully we just keep meeting more and more. Everywhere we go, there's never been anyone bad. Every school has been nothing but good people. It's been a cool journey, right, Archie?
Oh yeah, amazing, Tom, amazing. It's the best thing ever. We got to keep it going.
Yes,
it's been opening all kinds of doors, man. So guys, that are out there, we'll close it up with this. hey, remember in life, this is a part of jiu-jitsu. Like, I started in Japanese jiu-jitsu. That was where my jiu-jitsu started, and there was a saying, it was called kakua, and what that meant in Japanese jiu-jitsu and Hawaiian, it means to help one another. And I think that philosophy goes with everything in life, and you don't have to train martial arts or jiu-jitsu. Right now, especially, there's a lot of people that are way worse off than we are.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to get into it, but man, I went running the other day down a riverbank, and there was a homeless encampment like I'd never seen in my life. So there's know that we got it good. There's a lot of people that don't got it good. If you get a chance to help anybody, no matter what it is, even if it's something super small, do it, man. That's all I got to say. And
Yes,
with
sir.
that, God bless everybody. We'll see you guys on the next show. And thank you again, guys.
All right,
All right,
perfect.
peace.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Awesome.
God bless all of you guys.
All right, we'll talk to you guys soon for sure.
All right. See you.
All right. Bye.
Peace. Let's do this.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm gonna end the stream.